Thanks for
Okay.
telling me, Mac. Okay, so we are recording now. I should have been recording from the get go, but like I said, I just wanted this to kind of be a chat.
Talked about the craziest stuff
Yeah.
too and everything.
We're not going to say that.
No,
yet.
no, it's funny because you're recording this.
I'm recording now. So in
If
case
you
you
wanna-
missed it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Now we're done talking. We just
Yeah.
don't talk the rest of the time.
Now we climb up.
Yeah.
well, that was kind okay. So we'll get into. I've got some curiosities and stuff about the music and where Berried Alive really kind of originated from. I know it originally just kind of started with you, Charlie. Like you just kind of started. Was it initially just your thing, and then eventually Kaylie joined you?
Well, it's kind of funny because she thought of it when we were together hanging out in her room, like back in 2010.
Mm-hmm.
We were eating candy.
We were eating Gushers.
We were eating Gushers and just hanging out. And at the time, the band I was in was called The Fall Into Black, and I think you can find their music on YouTube and stuff. But it was a lot where I did like most of the writing too. And I had really like the bandmates were really cool dudes, but they weren't the most reliable. And they ended up like most of them kind of quit on me. And one like went to college, and one of the dudes like just decided that weed was better than playing drums, and the other dude just and so I was like, well, might as well start fresh. And then she thought of Berried Alive, and then like all the marketing that could come along with it. And I introduced the band name to the like new members I was trying to form, and they didn't like it at first. So I had like a whole sales pitch.
Yeah, we came up with like front and back sheet of paper, a list of reasons why it was a good idea.
Yeah, because it's kind of a hard sell back at the time, because everything was supposed to be super serious, like or like Egyptian themed. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
where like a lot of bands were
everything
doing
was
like
gods.
Egyptian
Yeah,
themed?
like Born of Osiris and
Exactly, all that.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff. So like Berried Alive was just kind of almost a parody, and I still consider it. Yeah, I almost consider it like a parody still, because it's kind of just like such a interesting angle of.
And it's well, because we just been talking earlier that day about how many different bands have the word bury or some form of burial or
between the buried
bury your dead.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like exactly.
How many excessive amounts of bands had that word or some form of it in their name, so that's where that.
But never buried in the form of music.
Yeah, I've never seen that before. So and now you kind of see fruit puns like everywhere. Yeah. We see a lot of like Liquid Death does Berried puns.
Berried Alive, one of my favorites.
Yeah, Berried Alive. Yeah. They asked us to collaborate with them, and so we're still like talking about doing that, but they sent us like 60 pounds of water.
Wow.
And, like, yeah, so we were like chipping away at that, and so that was fun. They sent us some Berried Alive. They sent us some of their like original Liquid Death.
And some plain sparkling.
Yeah, just plain sparkling. We drink sparkling water like crazy, so that was just like awesome to get and stuff. But yeah, so a lot of different brands are doing it now, but back then it was kind of unique. And I think we played like 2 or 3 shows. And then I started touring with a different band and just kind of decided to make Berried Alive more of a solo thing and make it more like personal. And then here we are. So I guess I toured for a bit, quit touring, started working like temp agency jobs. And then we moved out to Washington State, and so I started working here. And then eventually we've been doing this like full time. I've been doing this full time since 2017. She's been doing this full time since the beginning of this year.
Yeah.
And so, like, I feel like Berried Alive works best that it's just you two. Like I feel like if it were to add more people, it would feel a little less, like you said, it's a personal project for you, because even in the music, you could tell like the lyrics and stuff, it's very personal. Like a lot of the songs, especially with this new album, you can tell there's a lot of personal topics, personal, struggles and whatnot. And that's, I listening to those songs and I find myself, I think that's why I like you guys so much, like music wise, and because I feel like I kind of relate to a lot of those tracks. Like, Paranoid is like one of my favorites. Like, I just love how your delivery of that song, like, not only are you like a masterful guitar player, but you are a great vocalist as well. Like, not gonna lie, it's really well delivered.
Thank you. We wrote the lyrics together, and we wrote the song together, really. And I've spent a couple weeks just working on the delivery of that song to try to get the meaning across, and still working hard on vocals because I think I'm really trying to make like that kind of connection to other people instead of just crazy guitar. Like I still enjoy making crazy guitar music and stuff, but I want to make like more of a like
it's not such an emotional connection with the
guitar.
Yeah,
with guitar it's more like
you feel like a circus freak or something.
Yeah, it's more like a circus freak kind of thing where it's a little bit on the fickle side, where it's like now do something else that's cool, and it's just like I'll still do stuff that looks cool and sounds cool, but I want to try to make like more of a deeper connection.
Yeah, absolutely.
With vocals and stuff like that. It just seems like that's what I've always got from music. That's what music's always done for me personally, and it's like to give that back is like more of an honor than just becoming a proficient guitar player, I guess, in my opinion. But that's what we love so much about Our Own Light is that like it was kind of an album that we put on the back burner since 2017. After even when Fool's Gold was coming out, we had the idea of Our Own Light, and the title track Our Own Light was written back in 2017 as well. But I didn't have like the mixing and engineering skills or the vocal skills to really give it what we felt it deserved. So we kind of held it until now, and really on sharpening our musicianship since then.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it seemed like I remember you kind of talking to Adam Moore, and like the album's kind of been like a long, not to say a long time coming, but it's been a long run in the making, so to speak. Like, I mean, because the songs are kind of outspread. Like, I know because you release your songs as singles, so, more or less, and then like you compact them together in the full album release. I noticed, like, I saw like each time a song was released for Our Own Light, I would save it, and then once Our Own Light finally came out, I was like, well, I'll just I'll collectively just I'll delete those and then save the full album.
Yeah, it's kind of fun because then we were able to do single art for everything to kind of like give it its own vibe, give every song its own moment. Like so much new music gets released on a daily basis nowadays that if we would have held the album until the last minute, it could have easily become overlooked because people's lives are so busy and there's so much going on in social media's feed, and there's so many new songs released every day or every week that we thought each song really deserves its own moment.
Yeah. And if you get an album like 15 songs you've never heard before, you're gonna overlook some of them. Especially probably towards the end of the album. I remember like when I used to get actual CDs, I didn't really listen to the songs at the end of the album a lot of times just because I'd be tired of listening to the same album by the end.
So yeah, the way
I fully understand that because like when you'll know, like I noticed, like the longer albums are, it's like, man, if this were 10 songs, this would be the best. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like if an album's almost too long, you're like an album that's 18 tracks and each song's like 3 to 4 minutes long. You're like, man, I'm gonna have to drive an hour to listen to this whole album. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you get listening fatigue, and that's something that I'm concerned with. Like now for the future album, is just kind of keeping it on the sweeter side. Mm-hmm. But with that, you kind of want new music too. Like if you start pre-orders for an album, you want to have at least half of it brand new, fresh songs that nobody's heard before, at least half. And then like on your pre-order process, you can release release music as you go. But
we also have to release music before the pre-order start. Like we've kind of figured one song a month or sometimes 2 songs a month because you have to stay relevant because like everything moves so fast. If we go a few months without dropping anything, people might forget we exist.
Yeah, It happens. That's why I respect a lot of like rappers and stuff because they can do like a song a week. But you got to keep in mind they're not exactly making the beats from scratch and like recording themselves and everything. They're kind of getting pre-made beats from producers and then slapping their vocals on it and calling it a day. But still to have the drive to do like a single a week or two singles a week, like that deserves a lot of respect and credit and stuff.
And they're not spending hours a day learning to play the song.
That's true. They're not spending hours a day practicing like a totally different instrument and practicing mixing and mastering and all this other stuff. So
we figure one song a month for now is good.
Yeah, I think one song a month is the best we can do without compromising like thought and still making it a really thoughtful, meaningful thing for both of us.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you're saying, like I feel like now that I think about it, like that is a really smart, like, releasing strategy of like, giving each song its kind of, letting each song shine, let people get used to those songs before it's collective together in one CD. Because I mean, even now I find myself like, well, I can't say for myself because I'll still listen to the whole CD. What's nice about your guys' songs is like you have a couple, you have some that are decently long, but then a lot of them that are kind of shorter. So I mean, your album's 15 songs, yes, but I mean, you can listen to it in a 35 minutes time.
Yeah, there's some that are pretty quick, like Sit There Like a Lemon, Limelight. Those are Icy Hot. That was the fun one. That was one where it's one of those songs where we think like everybody's gonna pretty much like hate it, but we still do it anyways. Like there's that, and from the Mixed Grape Starfish Man. That was just like one that's just, these are just fun songs to make. The current audience might not like them, but some people might dig it. And so it's just one of those things where everything we do is like, I don't want to say it's for us, but some of the things we do are definitely just like for pure like personal fulfillment, personal joy. Like,
you find it hard to like, name your tracks? I know because you're trying to keep the whole berry thing going, like, fruit themed.
We have
we can't even like help it, dude. We have, what is this? The Office? Okay, so she's got the Office on her.
It's right there.
We've got a list of song titles.
Oh my gosh. You have song titles for days.
Yeah. And then sometimes we just name a song like based on what that song's about too. So
it's gonna take years for us to get through these song titles.
Yeah.
Well, that's not a bad thing at all, actually. I mean, you think about it, like, and you've got, I mean, they're so catchy too. Like, I mean, like Barbarians, Silence of the Yams. I mean, and there's such good tracks too. Like, it's like you see that track, and you're like, I want to listen to that song. Like, that's what I feel like. Your songs differ from so many other artists because they have those names. You may not know, the person may not even know who you guys are, but they're going to see that title and go, that's interesting. I'm going to check that out,
Yeah. And they're a lot of fun to like think of. Like we've got Wargord, Ghost Pepper coming up. The next song coming out next month or like soon is called The Greatest, but spelled Gratest, and it's like a grate that's like
a grater.
It's like a grater, and it's severing like all these bananas and stuff. It's
nice.
It's so like coming up with the name and then the art concepts. It's like that's another creative outlet for us. So it's just like so much more than just music, which is why we kind of want to turn it into more of a lifestyle brand, because we have so much like positivity that we want to spread, and we in so many other ways that, and like so much inspiration that we want to like give people, that touring kind of would limit us to.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about before you were recording.
Yeah. To just music, it wouldn't be entirely fulfilling.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if you're all tuning in, we had a conversation before we started recording about a whole bunch of stuff that I should have probably been recording, but that's on a whole nother conversation.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
we can recap. We talked about touring talked about horror movies a little bit, which we should talk about again. We've been watching like so many different horror films and or like
it's been a year for horror, I tell you. It's been great.
it really has. Kind of shocking how many good movies came out in 2022 that are horror movies.
Like there's been like kind of a gap, like 2000, obviously 2020, nothing really came out. 2021 was like kind of like on the, things are starting to roll out that were supposed to come out in 2020. And then 2022, it seems like it's been like a recovery year for like everything.
Yeah, definitely. We agree 100%. There was like,
especially in October, we watch a lot of scary movies.
Oh yeah,
pretty much every night.
We've been binging them. We watched like the Jeffrey Dahmer thing, of course, on Netflix. We've been watching The Patient. What are other?
We watched The Watcher on Friday.
The Watcher, Halloween Ends on, I think that was on Peacock.
Oh, nice.
So
I went and seen that the day it came out. I'm a big Halloween fan, so I was like instant like I'm going to see that the day it comes out.
That's cool.
I just went and seen Terrifier 2 Sunday. That was really good if you're into slashers.
I haven't seen that. Oh, I watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the new one.
The new one. I thought it was it's a lot of it's kind of I forget how I described that when I was talking to somebody about it. It's kind of like I said something candy and I can't remember the word I said to describe it. It's like carnage candy is how I described it. Because a lot of it, like, you're not really rooting for anybody. You just want to see this. There's literally a massacre in this movie.
Yeah, on the bus.
Yes. That was brutal.
Yeah, they didn't let you get too attached to any of the characters. And then it just was a slaughter fest the whole time, pretty much. And then that older lady just shows up with a shotgun and pretty much done.
That was really uncalled for. Like, they didn't need to bring her back. Like, and it wasn't even her. Like, it was the original actress passed away, so they had to try to get someone that remotely looked like her, and it was just, I feel like it was kind of a waste.
Mm-hmm.
But I think another top hit for me this year was The Black Phone.
Oh yeah, we watched that like last week. That was good. It was with the kid in the
oh dude, yeah, that movie was great.
Ethan Hawke and the kid's names, like I think his name's Mason, Mason Thames, and I love the little sister.
Yeah,
she was hysterical. But yeah, like you said, like there's like, gosh, like I've been to the theater more this year than I have been in like the past probably 5-6 years.
That's good.
Yeah, like
you prefer to go to the theater than to stream at home?
It just depends on the movie, I think. Like if it's something I really, really want to see, like obviously like with Halloween or I went and seen The Black Phone at theater, or it just depends on the release, I think, or what it is. Like sometimes I can wait, or if it's not something that's instantly streaming, because I know like like Halloween Ends is streaming on Peacock, but obviously with being a Halloween film, I still wanted to go see it in theaters. But like if it was something else that maybe I didn't want to see as much, but I still wanted to see it, I might just stream it just to like save money. But it's kind of nice going to the theater, because a lot of times I go to the early showing and there's usually not a lot of people in there. Like I've had more private screenings this year without having to have a private screening.
Mm-hmm.
So I prefer the theater to myself.
Yeah,
we do too. We always go early because like we go late and there's like a lot of, maybe it's the area or the theater we go to, but it's a lot of really rude people, inconsiderate and like loud and all sorts of shit. And it's just like, I'm just going to show up earlier. I'd rather have no.
Yeah, it's the last time I went to the theater and it was like a packed theater was when Spider-Man No Way Home come out. But what was nice about that, yes, the theater was like sold out, but everybody in there was a Spider-Man fan. Everybody was watching. Everybody was like, gasping or like cheering at the same time, like they were supposed to. Nobody was talking. Like there was, like you could hear could if the movie was off, you could hear a pen drop.
Yeah, well, that's good. And then that, I don't know. I haven't had that experience yet.
No, you almost got in a fight with a lady.
Oh no!
I not like fight. She was just like very loud, and I asked her to please be quiet, and she said no.
Yeah, she was really rude back.
Yeah, she was like super rude back, and I wasn't gonna fight a lady, but she definitely like made it hard to want to be there. So, but that's okay. We went and saw what did we see in theaters last? Was it the Gucci
Elvis?
movie? Or oh yeah, we saw Elvis in theaters last time we went to a movie.
I think that was pretty okay.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
I'm not that big into Elvis, but I mean, I feel like that would be a decent movie. Like I saw the guy who played him, and I mean, he looked like pretty legit.
Yeah, definitely. I liked his music. I was an Elvis freak when I was a kid. I was obsessed with like Elvis, Michael Jackson, all that kind of stuff.
You can kind of tell, like kind of getting back in your music, that there are definitely pop elements in your tracks, which is cool because it's like I literally like to put your music into a genre is actually kind of difficult almost because I mean you got your metalcore, your metal, your rock, but then you got your pop, your electronic and everything. Like it's specifically alternative in a way, just all around alternative.
We really like pop music, so we have a lot of influences. Specifically, we've really been into Sinatra lately, and so I don't think that we could really limit ourselves to one genre because it's too
absolutely. I feel like that adds. I think it adds a little more depth to your sound, like because I mean you can tell when it's one of your guys' tracks just by you kind of have a signature voice. Like I can't say that I've heard somebody that sounds remotely like you, but then also with yeah, and with like of course with your guitar playing, it's like I just know that it's you because I mean there's just something about the way you're of course your tricks and stuff that you do with your guitar, you can just hear it, like your kill switch that you have and all that stuff. It's phenomenal.
Thank you. I try to record with like the solo stuff with the same guitar or like same two guitars, and then I always try to use the same like amp and same amp setting, so it stays like the sound stays really consistent the whole time. And same with bass tone. Like I feel like her bass tone is really like unique with like it's still like clanky and like just kind of like loud compared to like today's like bass tones in metal or
hear her. Like
you don't really hear, it's almost like non-existent in a lot of mixes today. But if you listen to a song like Lemon Drop, like the bass just stands out, or Berry Blast from Berried Alive, that bass line in the beginning is just like really unique.
Yeah, absolutely. Like there's some really like rich bass tones in a lot of these songs. Like I think I noticed I want to say going back to Paranoid, there's a really like Paranoid and Silence of the Yams have very like almost based riffs.
Yeah, it's cool to like take the guitars out and just focus on vocals while she like does some grooves on the bass and stuff. It kind of like lets me kind of get out of my box as a guitar player a little bit, and I don't know, it's good for both of us.
Yeah, to kind of mix it up, have a little fun, like not just it mixes up, like your formula, because I know you guys have a formula, but you like to mix it up still, like.
Oh yeah, like what you were saying, we can't really stick to one genre, and it's fun to like there's so many different playlists on Spotify, and there's so many different ways to access different audiences that we don't really feel the need to have to stick to a certain sound. So we kind of like dabble in with pop music. We'll dabble back into like deathcore maybe a little bit, or we'll go into like just kind of all over the place. We have some really ambient stuff from like old music, like the Selfishness EP. There's like just a pure ambient song. It's just like meditational. So it's kind of nice to not have that limit.
So I have a minute left on this for some reason. I feel like we haven't been talking that long. I'm trying
Oh,
to
maybe.
I'm trying to decide what I want to do here. If we want to, because
Maybe just start a new call, and then you can piece them together.
yeah, I could do. I mean, if that would be okay with you guys, because I don't want to like. I wanted to let you guys know now, just in case it cuts off. Because for
Okay.
some, I don't
Yeah.
have the paid Zoom, and for some reason with the free Zoom, you only get like a 40-minute call, and
Oh, okay.
I feel like our call started. Yep,
All right. Cool.
got everything on the other video saved and everything, so it's all good there.
Cool.
I went ahead and hit record, so we didn't lose any time.
All right. And we're back.
We're back.
I have to take a bathroom break anyways.
I should have probably stood up a little bit. My butt's kind of asleep, but that's okay.
That happens to me. My legs fall asleep, especially with that big like Lionheart 8-string guitar.
Oh man,
it sounds killer and it's so fun to play, but after 2 hours, I've got to stand up because my legs are like dead. My left one specifically, I can't feel it anymore.
Those 8-string guitars are heavy. Like I used to have one myself, and I was like, gosh, this thing is a beast.
Yeah, but it adds to the tone. So it's like inconvenient as it is, it like makes such a brutal, like warm, dense tone too. So it's almost like a must-have as well. The light up LED Lionheart, I have the 7-string with that lights up and stuff. That is the heaviest guitar I'll probably ever own.
That is so cool. By the way,
it's got a
light up guitar. Like how does that even work?
Well, he's set up like LED lights built into the neck and the body, and it's like goes to this pack on the back of the body cavity, so it can control all the lights. And on a phone app, you can change the colors of it, and you can have it like pulsate or strobe. You can change the brightness of it, so it just glows like a red hue, all that kind of thing. So it's pretty cool. It's fun.
But you were supposed to use it in the Paranoid music video, but we couldn't because it has a motorcycle battery in it. So we were afraid to travel with it. So we didn't bring it on an airplane with us.
Yeah, I wasn't able to travel via Delta with it. They don't allow any batteries, and I don't really know anybody in the Georgia area to like have a battery ready for us when we got there and to like line it all up. So I just brought the white signature guitar, which is still great. It's still great. It's super lightweight. It's really easy to travel with. Sounds and plays awesome. But the original plan was to have that light up guitar in the music video. But I wasn't expecting a motorcycle battery. He didn't tell me. If he would have told me, I would have tried to like prepare for it. But it's still hard.
Got the guitar like the day before we were supposed to leave.
Yeah, I got it the day before we were heading out. So there was really no time to prep, and I tried. I definitely tried. I went to the music store here and had him like change the battery charger so it fit in an American outlet because it was still like Indonesia. So I did like as much as I possibly could, but at the end of the day, I just like had to bring the other guitar. But
yeah, I mean, it kind of sucks, but I mean, like you said, it's not for lack of trying.
Definitely no. Did everything possible.
So when it comes to like, let's talk about because you've got some really cool music videos where it's like where you guys aren't really in it, but like you're like your own light video, or our own light video, the Barbarians video, the Go Pluck Yourself video. Do you make all those yourself?
No, we work with animators, a couple different Tony Tripp and Glenimation.
Yep, Glenimation. He did the Go Pluck Yourself video, and he did the Barbarians one. He did the original Blood Orange video too, and Starfish Man. And Tony Tripp did Strawberry Serenity. He did the Our Own Light instrumental video with like all the animations, and he did Lemon Drop. And he's done
some artwork.
He's done graphics. He did the artwork for the Mixscrape, and the Mixscrape instrumentals and stuff. So yeah, they're super fun to work with, and they're really like brilliant. I don't know. I just like the way they think and put together all that stuff. But we have several artists on hand that we kind of like try to work with because people get busy or they just disappear, and so it's good to have a couple, like 4 or 5 in your corner
And
in
they also
case
have
you.
different styles as well, like for
Yeah, yeah, exactly, like different styles.
because
And
you guys yourself make some of your artwork as well, don't you?
Yeah.
yeah, Kaylie designs. She
I do
designed
some of it.
Legendary. She designed this and the Strawberry Serenity artwork itself. A lot of stuff.
Yeah, I did a
Limelight.
lot.
Was it the Hawaiian Punch shirt? I think you also did.
Yeah, Hawaiian Punch and the Grape Depression. The artwork for the Grape Depression, which got taken down from Instagram because it was like too graphic or something. Because it was like it was self-harm, but it's a grape, so it's just
might be a trigger, but it's still a grape.
I don't know. I think
I get it, but I don't.
Yeah, sometimes people go through and they try to report all our stuff.
Yeah, I think that wouldn't have happened if it hadn't been at a time where we were getting a lot of hate anyway. So
yeah,
I think that's the only reason that happened actually.
Yeah.
Trolls.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes we'll meet trolls, and sometimes there won't be any trolls. So it's just, I don't know.
I couldn't imagine like why you guys would even be like, why would you guys would even get hate? Like,
well, they think it's all fake.
I don't think anyone's immune to hate.
At the end of the day, like most of the hate, they just try to call the music fake, which like, how do you call it fake? Because it's like music. But that's really the only thing that I've seen people really try to stick to their guns about.
They clearly aren't musicians then.
Well, I mean, they're trying to be musicians from what I can tell. And so I think the real problem is we're lucky enough to be able to do this as our like career. And unfortunately they're not. And I think that's where the real frustration comes from. And it's hard to say that, and it's hard to like get that through to them because I've posted a lot of raw stuff, like a lot of really shitty quality like phone camera stuff.
Yeah.
And there's no, like, the haters don't want to see that. They don't acknowledge it. They pretty much pretend it doesn't exist. So that's why that's not the issue. That's why it's such a deeper, there's so many, like, there's deeper problems under the surface of this is fake that a therapist should probably dig into with them at some point.
You're not kidding. It's sad that we live in a world where they see something like that's fake, like that's not real, like, and like there's no like I'm not a music. Well, I'm not a musician on your guys' level. Like I'm a musician. I fiddle. I have a guitar. I used to play. I was more of a vocalist, but I know about musicianship and stuff like that. And there's like no doubt in my mind that everything you guys play is real because like nobody, like even if it were fake, there's no way like watching you play, like because you do your your recordings, and like there's no way that's fake. There's no way.
Yeah, they think it's like sped up and all this stuff, but they don't understand camera settings. They don't understand shutter speeds.
Yeah.
So like we could sit here and write a novel explaining all this stuff, or we could just like delete and like ignore it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Using that route saves so much stress. It's crazy, like because they don't want to argue. They don't want you to like say anything back. They really just want to like spew hate, and that's about it. So I don't know. Sometimes I get kind of snarky back, but usually I just ignore it and just move on because it doesn't matter.
At the end of the day, I mean, it's what's truth and what's not. I mean, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, it's only helped us too, which is kind of funny. Like, how like hate attracts attention and drama attracts attention. So it doesn't feel good at first. You think like this is a very real threat, but it's really kind of helping you. It's just publicity. It's just added, and it's free advertising, and it's not as bad anymore. It used to hurt. It used to hurt because there was a lot of dedication. There is a lot of time that goes into this stuff, and to
Oh,
play
absolutely.
guitar for 23, 24 years just to be called like fake is kind of offensive.
Yeah. No, I mean, you put your heart and soul, and I mean, just watching you play, just your little clips, like it may just be for like just showing a solo, and you can tell that you put your heart and soul into these songs, these tracks that you do, and that's just it bugs me. Like for instance, like the new Halloween, for instance, not to like compare music and movies, but I didn't love it, but I still it's a Halloween movie. I still love it. But like there's people that are literally just spewing hate because it didn't end how they wanted it to. And like there's this whole mass like there's this petition that maybe 200 people will sign to reshoot the film that are going to happen. By the way, it's like you're wasting your time. Like, and I did a live last week with one of my friends, and I'm like, I would hate to see the kind of shit that brings these people joy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, definitely.
It's really sad. Like these people lead these miserable lives just to like shit all over people's livelihoods. Like your guys, for instance, like being called fake. Like that's gotta. I mean, like you said, yeah, that's gonna hurt. Like but and after a while, you kind of like you said, brush it off, and like at the end of the day, it's real, and a lot of most of the people who's anybody is going to know that it's real. Like, and
Well,
even if it wasn't real, it still sounds cool as shit.
our goal is to make stuff that sounds cool. You know, it like,
and I don't think the videos, like the point's not to be like, look how real this is. Like obviously the videos are kind of an advertisement for the music and the clothing.
Yeah.
And like our brand basically.
You guys aren't just like like you keep saying, you're not just a band. Like you guys are like a lifestyle brand. Like initially, like because I mean, now when you first like kind of bouncing back a little bit, when the band first started, like did you always have this idea like let's do our own like your clothing? Was that always like part of it? Like did you always want to just kind of launch your own like clothing merchandise?
Well, Kaylee's been designing clothes since she was a little girl. You've been like making outfits and making fashion. She was doing fashion wear like since your childhood, right?
I don't like honestly the second the idea for Berried Alive like came, like with it came all the ideas for all the marketing and clothing that could be done with it. And we didn't like do a lot of clothing at first because it's a lot of money up front to
price.
Then you have so many people who actually, or else there's no point. But once the need and the want was there, we started it.
In bands and like buying t-shirts when you're in bands and like seeing them not sell and just kind of sit in a box, it teaches you something. It's discouraging, but it teaches you something. There's always something to learn from like the shitty things in life. And so we waited until enough of our audience was like, you guys need to get merch. You guys have to they're like demanding merch from us. So we didn't even really have merch until people told us straight up. Enough people told us. Yeah. So then we started very small with limited items and all that stuff. It was never like, we're going to franchise this shit and we're just going to like drop as much clothing on people as possible, make as much money as possible. They literally like told us what to do until we were finally like, okay, fine, dirt. Jesus, leave us alone.
But, have some shoes while you're at it.
Yeah. Kind of like grown really steadily from there to the point where it is now. But we started small and we made sure to at least have most of the items sold like with the pre-orders moving before we would like backstock stuff.
We used to do pre-orders.
Yeah, well we lived in a really small apartment and now we have like 2 small apartments, but before we just had the one, so we couldn't have a lot of inventory lying around because our bed was literally in our living room and our studio was our bedroom. So we didn't have room to play with.
absolutely. I mean, and look at, I mean, to go from that, like you're saying, like merch just sitting in a box, and now it's like your shirts are and whatever is just like flying. Like I know, like depending on, I can't say depending. Most of your stuff has sold out, and that's
Yeah,
remarkable.
yeah, we've been super lucky, and it's crazy who like ends up buying our stuff. Like a lot of like Stephen Carpenter from Deftones, we see
Oh,
him like
really?
in
I love
our
Deftones.
yeah, frequently. Like he wears them like on tour and stuff. He wears them in his playthrough videos and he tours with it. So you never know who's watching, and it's really cool to see the support for what we're doing. We never thought I didn't think it could become like what it is. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
I thought I'd be lucky to have Fool's Gold come out and just like see what happens after that. So
Yeah, I mean,
it's,
it's amazing just kind of like word of mouth, you know. Like I found you guys through, I think I was just watching videos one day and just out of nowhere, um, Blood Orange pops up. And like I hear,
oh,
you know, that's one of your most hit songs.
would the play video or the music
I think
video?
it was it was the playthrough, like the instrumental.
Cool.
And like I just listened to that over and over. I'm like, this is wild. And then like like your good, I saw your like your guitar, and then like your outfit, you had the clothes and everything. I'm like, this is cool as hell. And then like I just started from there, like started listening to more and more stuff. Like Fuego is probably one of my favorite songs. Like
Oh, cool.
that
Thank
song's
you.
cool as hell. Like I don't like the outro of that song is insanity, by the way. Like, and bouncing back to Our Own Light, let's talk about Go Pluck Yourself for a second. You didn't have to go that hard on that song, by the way.
Oh, that one we started writing that at the beach, like back in 2017 or 18 or something.
Yeah.
Just like
Writing
the beginning.
writing a song about
But it
writing a
was
song
just
about
fun.
anger on the beach, like that's seems like an ideal place.
We
Yeah.
were listening to the Beastie Boys and Rage Against the Machine that weekend.
Yeah, we were listening to just Rage
That
Against
makes sense.
a lot. And so it was cool to like, yeah. I mean, Tom Morello like retweeted Blood Orange. Like what you were just talking about. And that's
Yeah.
what gave us a whole like extra audience basically. That was crazy, but
I think I saw somebody post about he had shared your guys' stuff. I'm like, that's big.
yeah, he shared our stuff, and you don't expect anything from well, really anybody, I guess, at this point in our lives, but to see somebody that doesn't have to do it jack shit do something like that for another like up and coming like artist, it's kind of really cool. And
Yeah,
it's
really cool of him. Like, I mean, because you know he does. Obviously, he's pretty much a guitar god as well, with like all of his tricks and stuff that he does. I mean, and to
he's
share
a legend.
do what? Oh yeah. Then I'm like, in a way, like it's like you got like you're almost a new age like Tom Morello, if we're you know.
Thank
But
you.
honestly, more talented.
I don't. It's so subjective, but thank you. That's really cool.
It is subjective, but just throwing my opinion out there. I know that obviously he is a legend. He's older. He's got the experience, but like some of the stuff you do. I mean, obviously you've been playing your whole life just as he has, and some of the stuff you do, it's like I haven't seen that done.
Thank you. I watched a video of him as he was coming up and learning stuff. He would try to recreate like things he would hear in hip hop music and stuff on his guitar. And I've been doing the same. Like, for example, you mentioned Fuego. The beginning of Fuego, I put that song together using like dubstep samples.
Yeah,
so structure with dubstep, and then I'm like, now I need to force myself to be able to recreate this shit on a guitar. So then I added like different effects on my pod HT500. I added like a pitch shifter, a vocoder, and I was able to like, I had to tap dance it a lot to be able to play the intro, but it's like
I've seen the playthrough. It looks pretty rough.
It's growth.
It
It's
definitely
just
looks like it's fun to play though, but like very challenging.
yeah, it's tedious but fun.
Yeah, I've noticed that like with because like I remember you were talking about like I think it was during the playthrough of Our Own Light like that because there was a the solo for that song is very I what's the word for there's a lot of alternative picking as you were calling it with like with the guitar solo for that song and you say it's
Oh
like
yeah,
you have to almost build your hand strength to do it sometimes.
it's alternate hybrid picking. So it's a
Hybrid.
lot of
That's okay.
you're like alternate picking, but then you're plucking at the same time with your ring and middle finger. So, but that's so you can have like wider intervals too at the same time. So you're not just you don't hear a direct like scale go up and then back down. You hear like a scale go up and then a really high note, and then it like starts goes back down again, and then an even higher note, and you get the idea. But
Yeah.
it takes repetition like crazy, like hours and hours and hours and hours and hours hunched over an instrument. That's why I have horrible posture.
Well, I mean, you don't need to have good posture to play guitar well.
No, but to other guitar players watching this, like work out your back, do back workouts, and make sure to stretch because that will help fix your posture so you don't have like back issues. And like my sternum pops, like I don't know if you have that, where it's like if I play too long, it almost like clicks into place here, and I have to like
Because
stretch it.
you are hunched over a lot, so I mean, I could see that.
Yeah, and some of it's due to like previous jobs. I was a CNC operator, machine operator, like
Okay.
back in the 12 hours a day, and it was constant like loading tools in and out of like mills and stuff. So it was a lot of like left, and I would get really sore like upper left back kind of stuff. So part of it's related to that, but a lot of it is like hours over an instrument, which is why I'm glad I have my like signature guitar because it's so lightweight. It kind of like lets me do that for a long period of time without getting too fatigued. But yeah, I mean, it takes stamina. But once you get there, once you get the repetition down, you can do it in your sleep. You don't feel
Yeah.
tension. You don't strain in anything. So it's just like you're just going through it.
Yeah, like the day old, saying practice makes perfect, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And I mean,
exactly.
I could practice all day and night and still never be that good. So
It's hard because you get to a certain level of like technical proficiency where to get to even this much better technical proficiency, it's going to take like another 1,000 hours. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like just build blocks, it's kind of like it's almost like comparable to bodybuilding or something, where it's just it takes that many more hours and dedication to do it, and actual like focused dedication. It's hard. It's easier to call it fake, to be honest. It's way
24 years of experience, and no,
Why it's important to write really good music so it's not relying on tricks or guitar tricks and having to play a single song that many hours in order for people to like it.
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. It's
Like, I feel
hard.
like I feel like you guys could play a song without the tricks and stuff, and it would still be really there would still be a lot of depth to it even without all the tricks and stuff. Like I feel like you like have you ever thought about like making like a kind of a stripped album?
It would be nice to be able to do that. I don't think that we trust that we would know how to get it out there so that people would actually listen. Because like the videos are the advertisement. We don't really spend money on advertisement so much. So the videos and how they go viral with the crazy guitar tricks is sort of how we find new people.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I do like that though. I thought that would be a really cool challenge. Like we challenge ourselves in all these other ways, like instrumentally and musically, like just taking like putting on handcuffs or like putting the
Yeah.
guitars and still having to come out with like a series of songs that have meaning and depth. Like that would be a really cool challenge because
Yeah,
then we
it
have
would
more
be fun.
focus on lyrics, melodies, and structure. And I think at the end game, I think it would be really cool if we could do stuff like that and still have it be accepted by our
Yeah,
Yeah.
audience.
I think I don't feel like we can get away with that.
Working on it though. We
Yeah.
are working there.
I was just thinking about that. Like when I brought that up, I'm like, I feel like, because I'm a fan of you guys regardless of what you guys do, but I feel like there's those people out there that listen to you because of the, they like the guitar solos and stuff like that. And
Yeah,
those are the people that are going to be like, where's the guitar solos?
Yeah. So that's happened before. There's like, I was expecting like a crazy guitar solo at the end of that. But it's okay. It's because that's where we started from.
Yeah.
It started out, I was player in the band I was in before. So it's like, yeah. And so my guitar has always been a big part of my life, and vocals hasn't necessarily been there. Like I've always enjoyed doing vocals, and I loved doing it, but it was kind of like my foot in the door with music was guitar. And my foot into even jobs has been like with guitar, which is kind of funny. But yeah, so but I'm working on getting away from that.
Yeah, like I kind of like the track I Hate Guitar. Like I like how there's like kind of that theme, like because you guys kind of went over the meaning of the song in one of your videos where it's like you just, is this all I'm ever gonna like be known for? Like I like playing all these like crazy solos and stuff like that. It's like there's more to it than just that, like, and it's more vocal driven too at that.
Very much so. Yeah, we had it produced by a guy that does more vocal focused music as well, to just have them stand out that much more on it. Same with Jucifer. Jucifer does have a solo in it, but it's much more of like a vocal, like meaningful song.
That's Our Own Light. Like I would go on, like, not to be like sound like a Kiss ass, but like that album's probably gonna be my album of the year. Not gonna lie. Like,
oh wow, that's awesome.
I love, like, there's just, because there's really a song for everything. Like there's a lot of, because like I said, I kind of I don't know, I feel the songs because like I kind of, what's the word for it, like connect with them in a way, like with the whole like having anxiety, there's a lot of depression songs in there, anger and whatnot. It's like I connect with that because like I feel that on a personal level. Like, Our Own Light's about, creating our own, like, our own thing, doing our own thing. And like, that's kind of what I do, with this thing. Like I'm doing my own thing. Like I'm not trying to be like everybody else. And then like,
yep. And it's yours. You have full control over it, and you don't like have to worry about somebody trying to snatch it away from you or anything like that. It's like
exactly.
your own.
That's like what this is with you guys. I mean, nobody, like, I feel like this will always be, you two will always be buried alive. I feel like that's just, get that out there now. Like it could never be anybody else, I don't think.
Yeah, and that's what I love about it, because I've struggled so much with like band members in so many different ways, not to throw anybody under the bus, but I just thought that I don't want to deal with that anymore. I would rather learn skills that they have and apply them towards my own music. For example, like drummers, like, because you can program drums, you know what I mean? Yeah, so cool. If you jam drummers, or if you get to dabble on their kit when they're not at practice yet or something, you can kind of pick up certain skills, and you kind of learn how a drummer thinks and how transitions work musically, like almost solely based on drums, especially in like metal music, like fill wise. So we just didn't want to have to rely on anybody. Like at the end of Blood quote, like the self-reliant quote at the end of Blood Orange, we just wanted to be totally self-reliant, which is why we don't work with a lot of like advertising companies. We don't work with like a lot of other people. Very rarely, like that's why we have so many artists, because we don't want to rely on one artist,
just one person.
We want to have like as many people as possible that we can go to, because we've never really fully felt like somebody's officially had our back at all times. So, and especially in music, especially in, I guess you could say, the entertainment industry, the more stuff you can do on your own, the more shit is going to get done, because it's up to you to do it.
Absolutely. Like, and at the end of the day, it's like the only people you can rely on it is yourselves. I mean,
yep.
It's
the sooner people realize that, the better. And it's hard and it's painful and it hurts but it's not more painful than like getting let down when you really need somebody.
Absolutely. I definitely feel that. Um, so because we've talked about basically everything I feel like we could have talked about, and I don't want to take up too much of the rest of your time because for one, I actually need to be getting to bed.
Okay. Yeah,
So,
no problem. We got to Portland next anyways. We probably should go before traffic. Traffic gets insane.
so
It's
where
just
you guys are, you're out of California? No,
we're on the West Coast. We're in Washington State, but we live just outside of Portland, Oregon. So there's a river
okay.
that
I
separates the
thought you were in
state.
California. Maybe that was somebody else.
Maybe someday. Maybe someday. So for now, I wouldn't mind getting to some place that's warmer a little more consistently, I guess. Because the energy level, like when it gets cold, you're just like drained. You just feel like for a while. But
yeah,
well,
I live in the Midwest, so I never know what the weather's going to be.
yeah. We lived in Minnesota, so it's like I think we already got snow. Is there snow on the ground there?
Not on the ground, but we did have snow the other day. But then, like today, it's like 80 degrees.
That's funny. That sounds like mid.
It's terrible. Like, and I'm like, come on, man, just pick a season and stick to it. But it never does. But we're actually getting fall for once. Like it's actually consistently kind of staying fall weather, where it usually goes from one extreme to the next. It goes from really hot to like 30.
Wow.
No, I want some 50s and 60s.
We went from we had 80. I think we had a record-breaking high heat here, and then it was just like cold the next day, cold and raining, which is good. There was a forest fire near us, so I'm glad it rained because people were starting to have to evacuate and stuff. But it's all good now. I don't know.
It's just cold.
It's funny because I love the rain personally, but I do feel like way more tired when it's cold.
Yeah, I feel like that's like a global thing. Like if it's cold or rainy, it's just like let's just call it a day.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go watch some movies. Maybe that's why there's so many. I don't know. Maybe that's why the holidays happen this time of year. It's just like good to hunker down and watch movies and cuddle.
Sounds like a plan. Well, guys, I really appreciate your time. I really appreciate you, sharing some of your story, the background of the new album, your music, the brand. I can't wait to see what else comes from. I know you guys put out song. You literally just put out a new song.
Ambition.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was a fun one.
Very good track. I can't wait for the next one. And like you said, you guys are basically, I think you told me the other day that you're almost done with another album basically.
Yeah, we're just finishing production. I think we have 2 more songs to finish production on, and haven't recorded vocals yet because I'm still working on my voice a lot. I wanted new one to be really well rounded, like as a whole. But yeah, thanks for doing this. This was fun too, and
of course,
look forward to sharing the final product when you're all done.
Awesome. Yep. And I'm looking to hopefully grab a copy of, because I don't have an actual physical copy of your guys' CD yet. I need to get one because I gotta have it. And I'm thinking about getting one of the vinyls if there are any left.
Yeah, I think there's like 30 left at this point. They're still on pre-order because we didn't
still in production. I saw the post about you guys having to send them back because of some issues they were skipping and what have you.
Yeah.
So now we're looking at December.
Vinyls, man, they take forever. It's crazy, but
I don't get it.
They're really good. They're going to be really good when they're done. The first test presses were just whacked, but it'll be okay.
Yeah.
Why don't you just send us your address? We can send you a CD.
Okay, that'd be great. I'd appreciate that.
On our Instagram chat, and we can send that out tonight when we get home.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate that greatly.
No problem, man.
Awesome. I will. So I'll get this all edited and stuff, and I'll put it up, and I'll share it with you once it's all done, and we'll go from there. Hope you guys have fun getting your new laptop or your new computer, which
definitely.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
she's needed one for a while. So cool. Well, good chat, man.
Stay safe out there, and happy trails.
All right. Thank you. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.